It's the Takeover. It's the Takeover right here on the award-winning CBJ Radio. We're always bringing you the coolest artists on Wednesday nights, and tonight's no different. Well, he's in Nevada right now, but he's a California solo rocker. Wes Cage. He's a musician and actor over the years. He's fronted a couple metal bands. He's appeared in several films, a couple with his dad. You might know who he is, Nicolas Cage. And he recently took a little bit of a different turn with his latest release called The Wolf, which was co-written with Keith Whalen from Breaking Benjamin. We're stoked to have Wes Cage on the show. First, Wes, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I appreciate you.
Wow. I mean, everyone's telling you this is a new turn. This is a new project. But when I look at this Wes Cage project started like back in 2014. So why are we revisiting it now?
I'm so glad. Thank you for knowing that fact. It's, it's definitely a thing that I've wanted to revisit for a while. In 2020, a little before 2020, I remember I was really ready to just start getting my music back up to what it was before. I was blessed to work with Blasco finally, and we just decided to go full throttle with this.
Yeah, and he's getting there. This is just the beginning, is The Wolf. I saw an article where it says that you've left black metal, which that's not the case either.
Yeah, I saw that article too. It's such an intense way they chose to word that, where it's like he abandons black metal. It's almost like there's a bit of an emotion behind that. Well, I did my old project, Eyes of Noctum, did disband in 2010, and I still very much so benefit from the work ethic that black metal gave me, and even the how it's enriched my personality and brought me closer to my true self. But also, I just recently got done doing a request for a black metal track for a film. So I'm still doing, it still finds its way in my life sometimes. Of course, aesthetically, very much so.
Yeah. So you never know what's going to come out of Wes. So don't write off his black metal just yet. Well, we mentioned your dad. Everyone mentions your dad. I mean, how can you not? But your mom is Christina Fulton, which she was in The Doors, which I'm a huge Doors fan.
Oh,
when I saw that, I was like, that's awesome. Tell us about your upbringing. Were you growing up with your mom? How did it work?
My mom and dad were very good at making sure that we got family time spent, like holidays and everything, as all of us, or making sure that I saw my dad frequently, and it was pretty balanced, I would say. They both. One thing that I'll always be grateful for is that my mom and dad both really made sure to pursue turning me into, I wouldn't say turning me into an artist, but encouraging me to become an artist and making sure that I had the proper education for the things that I love doing. I always had musical instruments around me, and was always going to, school for dramatic arts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I saw one article where it says you can't ever say that Nick Cage was not a good dad because he's always been there for all of his kids. I saw where he bought your imaginary friend a plane ticket on one trip that you guys took.
I don't put it past him of his. He's very much so always been there. He's the greatest dad I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, with my siblings, and he's my motivation as a father.
Yeah, for sure. How's the name been? Because I see a lot on your Instagram. You're like, nepotism cannot create talent. So obviously you've gotten a lot of shit because of your name, or hit some roadblocks because they're like, fuck, he's Nick Cage's son.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I've dealt with quite a bit, and even my father has dealt with. And unfortunately, it's something that anyone with my last name is going to deal with, because my family's been working with each other creatively for over 100 years now. I mean, it's been, when you see Anton Coppola and Carmine working on Godfather, Bram Stoker's Dracula or Godfather with Carmine, it's been a lot of this, but it was just something that occurred to me, kind of an epiphany, where it's like, even if I wanted to, give my kids my kids are artistic, but like figuratively, if someone wanted to make their kids succeed based off who their family is, you wouldn't be able to do that with musical instruments.
Yeah.
You know, because if they're bad, they're it's going to show. But
yeah, well, I saw. Do you actually play 15 instruments, Wes?
I do, because of the a lot of the kind of lesser known string instruments that I play from around the world. So I play everything in your traditional band, but I also play like bouzouki and sitar and other instruments like that.
He plays the kazoo, the recorder. He's got it all underneath his belt. Go check him out. Wes Cage is on Instagram, Spotify, iTunes, IMDb. Go check out the movies he's done. And his latest single, The Wolf, is out now. Composer, it kind of shocked me when I see these compositions you're doing. You've scored a couple movies. How has this happened, Wes?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I always loved soundtracks. And the what the sonic personality or identity of a film or TV show is, or even like starting with some of the old superheroes, like what their theme songs were, and I wanted to dabble into that, and I found my way into doing that. I think I've done quite a few soundtracks and a lot of track placement and stuff, but it's something that I'm going to be doing a lot more in the future.
Well, your old man, you said what? That he used to play like classical music around the house?
Constantly, yeah. It was always some really powerful, classical music from, be it Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, something like that. And I do think that helps my emotional depth and maturity as a child, because as I became like, when I turned 18 and we would sit down in a group of friends and talk about our favorite artists of all time, I was still saying Beethoven and stuff like that, so it changed me.
Yeah. When everyone else was saying Metallica, you were saying Beethoven.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a very spiritual guy. You said that you would cry seeing people as a kid because you could feel their aura. Explain this, Wes. This is amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I just got done speaking yesterday at with the group that's studying Hermeticism, which was nice. And so I definitely came into this world with just being advanced spiritually. I would say things that sometimes people would maybe pull my parents aside or kind of look at me like, how do you know that? Or it's a little advanced for a kid to say spiritually. I definitely could see people's energy and aura, kind of read their heat signature in a way that, like, I know other people would meet someone and kind of get to know them, but I would see someone's energy and pretty much get a proper download on who they are, and then hear later who they were when they would explain themselves. But when I was a kid in Greece, I did see someone sitting down eating, and I looked at his energy and kind of just started to really kind of dissect it, and then I started crying because I felt the guy's pain. And this is one of the reasons why I became, I think, I got involved with substance abuse and had an addiction problem, is because I walk around so sensitive and in tune with energies that I'm sober now, but I used to really like to numb that up as possible, as much as possible.
Oh, I'll bet. Try not to feel all the other energy. Well, and you're a pagan as well,
yes.
Right?
Yes, I've been very much so practicing pagan for, a very long time. My grandpa was even into it, and my father has many beliefs that are paganistic. My fiance and I did a real Samhain, the true Halloween, where you celebrate your ancestors and talk about them and do a little feast. So we wrote down the names of all of our beloved ancestors that have passed and spoke about them at length at dinner, and did the true pagan way, which was awesome.
Yeah, that would have been pretty sweet. Go and check him out. Wes Cage. He's on Instagram, Spotify, iTunes. His latest single, The Wolf, along with an awesome video, is out now. We're gonna hear The Wolf and talk about it here in just a second. You mentioned your manager, Blasco. And I'm like, Blasco? The bassist from Rob Zombie and Ozzy? That's the Blasco. How the hell is he your manager, Wes?
Well, I couldn't be more lucky and grateful. I had the best idea where finally, I was always looking for a manager here and there and asking people that I would meet here and there. And then I realized, well, why don't I just ask Rob Zombie who the best manager in the world is in his opinion? And then he's like, Blasco. And he just set up the meeting, and I immediately connected with Blasco, loved the guy, and still to this day we work together.
Yeah, are you it? I mean, I didn't know he was a manager.
Yeah, he manages also Black Veil Brides. He's a fantastic manager, and it's amazing working with him because he's also such an astonishing artist.
Yeah.
So he has a great vision for the way things should manifest and should materialize, and also he knows how to. He speaks the language musically, where someone, I've had managers in the past where they were not musicians and maybe not even articulate when it comes to just what they're looking for in a song. I didn't understand what they mean, but Blasco could literally get in there and start making things happen himself if he wanted to with the song.
Talk about a manager that's been there, done that, knows people, is a musician. I mean, yeah. Knocking it out of the park with that. Well, did he get you into these writing sessions with different artists? Is that how you got hooked up with Keith?
Yes, he did. So we did a little, basically he scheduled a series of writing sessions, and Keith was one of the musicians that I worked with on those sessions. And the track that we wound up making is this very track, The Wolf. It was a very flawless, easy experience working with Keith, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I knew that we had something. Is usually when a song that's that anthemic or epic will write itself usually, and it doesn't take much time to kind of dissect it and change it.
I mean, because that's crazy, because you didn't even know Keith before you guys met to do this writing session. Did you write with people before? Because I've talked to a million people that write songs. Some people can't even stand writing with somebody else, let alone not even knowing somebody, and then to come out with a song with the meaning and the story behind The Wolf is pretty amazing. Definitely,
yeah. I've done writing sessions with others, and I'm glad I did, because that gave me some some etiquette and some background on doing that. And yeah, this really was mind blowing with Keith and I. Did that in that session.
Yeah, that speaks to both of you. It's pretty awesome. Because The Wolf, tell us about the song. It's a spiritual dichotomy of the higher and lower self. I mean, this is right up your spirituality ebb and flow you got going on, Wes.
Definitely. It's most definitely about that dichotomy of the higher and lower self, and just how we all have this power in us that is literally great enough to where humanity will talk about one person for the next 10,000 years and remember their greatness, and we create all this glory. But we also have a part in us that is very capable of telling us to quit and that we're not good enough. And it's just amazing how both those forces can exist in one being. And far too many people give into the negative, nihilistic critic that's inside, and I wanted to show kind of what my higher and lower self would look like. I think that if I let my lower self truly take over all the way, I would have probably become someone that was homeless or, dealing with, insanity like the character was in the music video. And then my higher self is definitely one of organization and power and that's definitely what we were trying to personify in the music video. But yeah, I think that everyone has that higher self, and then there's also that. Unfortunately, there's that opposite, the polarity.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned the music video. Whose idea was it for the mask? That's pretty sweet. And who made the thing?
The masks were made by a designer named Miriam Harriet Union in Los Angeles. And when Vicente, the director, Vicente Cordero, who's absolute genius, when he started to describe what he saw for it, this amazing designer was discovered, and those masks he had, I mean, there wasn't really anything else like that around, so it was perfect for this.
Well, yeah, and it fits like she made it for the video.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. Buckle up. I was looking at your IMDb of movies that you've done. Was this like Tom Sizemore's last movie he did?
Yeah. I actually, it's called Buckle Up on the
IMDb. It's called Buckle Up, but who knows if it could be something else.
Oh yeah, they must have changed the name or something maybe. But yeah, I worked with Tom on a project, introducing him some people, and we got him in on this project with a guy named Kenyon Glover. It might be the same one. I'm not sure. They may have changed some names.
Yeah, could have been. But yeah, I was like, man, that had been about one of Tom's last things that he did. But and then what is the song that you did? Was that for Boneyard? Is it for the death metal song, or what'd you do for Boneyard that's coming up?
I did a metal song for a movie called Crescent City. There's a scene where my character turns on the radio. They wanted some real extreme black and death metal to turn on. I was able to equip the film with that. And
your character turns it on?
Yes.
That's cool. So you turn it on, it's your own tune.
Absolutely.
Why Pavement? Why sign with a label right now?
I think that it's usually the most legitimizing thing an artist can do, and of course what a label can do. It goes beyond what someone can do independently. I think Blasco a while back had the idea to have me go with them. Then there was a little delay on me getting the music video ready to go, but finally once that happened, we got everything moving again, and Pavement was still interested. Yeah, well, you picked a good one. They've been on fire lately. Yeah, they're legendary. So that's a good thing. Your birthday is December 26th. Yes. Was this good or bad thing growing up? Well, I always loved it just because there's like so much festivity in this time of year for me, with my birthday also being there, and then New Year's, and then, you know, there's Christmas. My parents would usually give me like 2 meaningful gifts for Christmas and my birthday. You know, I know a lot of people sometimes would get like, you know, nothing on one of those days or the other, but they always made it work. Ermelinda, how do you pronounce your girlfriend's name? My fiance's name is Ermelinda. Yeah, Ermelinda. You had a shirt. You have a shirt with her on it. What does she do? She made the. I've always wanted a shirt with her on it. She's honestly the individual I've always been looking for, and I've tried to find her in other people, and that wasn't possible. And finally, I think I said the right amount of prayers, and I finally met her. But she's a costume designer and fashion designer, and an author and filmmaker, and she was able to get me a shirt of her made. Yeah, it's classic. I was like, that's badass. And what, you guys have written a couple movies together, or what's going on behind the scenes? Yeah, this is something I've always wanted to be able to do with a partner, is to write a script or write a film, and her and I have been able to do that. We're just finishing up on getting one of them made into a film. I had to kind of add some stuff to it, and then we have a pretty large family action adventure saga that's going to be. I'm certain it's going to do very well. National Treasure 2. It'll be of that caliber for sure. Because how are we juggling it? Are we focusing on both things at the same time? Are we focusing on music? What's happening? Luckily, I've found a way to make my music and acting career become one entity and be as active be equally active. At one point in my life, I remember I had to really switch gears and focus on one thing for a year or two, and then go back and forth. But luckily now, you know, it's almost like my acting career is enhancing my music career and vice versa.
Yeah, that's awesome. Keep your eye on him. Go check him out, Wes Cage. Go follow him on Instagram, and then go check out Spotify and iTunes. His latest single, The Wolf, is out now. Wes, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's Wes Cage. It's The Wolf. It's The Takeover. CBJRadio.com.